Still my hair.
What's up, primates? I'm Shane the Skeptic, and as always, I thank you for tuning into my channel to watch my content. Um, yeah, I mean, the title is the title, so if you clicked on it, you know why you're here. You have an idea of what today is going to be about. I want to start off by saying Happy New Year to everybody. My year did not fucking start out great, and I'm going to get right into that. I turned it around a little bit. Yeah, we're already starting off iffy, right? But hey, that's just how life goes. Say a quick what's up to the people that I see in the chat, which so far is the one and always look at the trees. What is going on, man? Thank you, as always, for tuning in. I know I thank everybody at the beginning, but I'm going to single you out while you're here. You're normally the first person here, the person that I think watches. I mean, every time I do a live stream, I think I see you in the chat, and I do appreciate that support. Because for those of you who do want to support me financially, which, by the way, if you want to do that, Cash App, Shane213, PayPal 123. Shane is me. Easy to fucking remember. I came up with that when I was like 11. The name, gmail.com. And you know what? If you want to support me, my content, my channel, what I do, appreciate it. But I want to point out though that I don't do the podcasting, YouTube. I don't do the shit for a living, right? So ultimately, there's more than one way to contribute to a channel. And what I think a lot of people don't realize is your view time is a contribution to my channel as well. Because as long as I've been on YouTube, you know, if you want to get monetized, you have to have 4,000 hours of view time of people having watched your content, right? I still haven't hit 1,000 yet, everybody. So I'm literally not even a quarter of a way to the hours watched you need in order to get your shit monetized on YouTube. So yeah, when people view, people are actually helping to support me so that I could get my channel monetized. So actually, just so you know, when you're clicking like and you're clicking subscribe and you're coming back and again actually watching the shit, that is actually supporting me. And I don't just mean that in like the mundane way that most people take it as. I mean it actually, if you think about it, you could show that it does help. So I want to give everybody thanks for the support as always. YouTube is a place for support from me. You know, in the real world, I always don't know if everybody likes me or is tolerating me or if everybody just is kind of putting up with me until I walk away. But if you're here, I know that you chose to be here, right? And ain't nobody forcing you to listen to my live streams. Anybody that's listening is listening on their own volition, whether they're doing so because they like me or because they want to fucking laugh at me. And those people exist. Fuck them. They're still watching, right? So today I'm going to talk about, self-harm, self-hate, suicide. And the self-harm thing, I realized, you know, I just kind of, I was at work and I made the decision to do the stream today. And I made the stream and scheduled it because I thought about self-harm and the fact that, I'm going to be honest, a lot of people who were close to me don't even know that I do this. I'm gonna grab a Gatorade real quick. I got them right here. I'm unprofessional. You know how I do it. Okay, I got all the same viewers at least right now. So got a Gatorade. Would you believe that I smoked weed before I did this stream? So I have cotton mouth. Unlike me, right? let's talk about self harm. I realized that it's not a thing that I really open up about, and it's an easy thing to want to not want to open up about, obviously, given the stigma. But where does stigma come from? Oftentimes, people not talking about shit and what it comes from and normalizing it and helping people understand it. And if people who self harm want those of you who've never done it to understand it a little bit more, then that shit ain't just gonna happen by itself. We gotta actually talk about it and talk about where we're coming from, because I understand that a lot of people, their first thought is if somebody self harms. So first of all, the first thing that comes to your mind is cutting, right? Because that's the most common form of self harm is cutting, and the most common place that people do that, at least as it seems, is on their wrist. And whenever we think of self harm, we think of somebody cutting themselves on their wrist. And a lot of people, I can't say that I've never been of the opinion of myself, do it for attention. Think people are doing it for attention. Right, comes in all different forms. Um, and it's kind of ironic for the person who self harms because a lot of the time they go through a lot of stress and anxiety about how they're going to hide their scars. And, they're wearing long sleeves when it's hot outside. And now everybody thinks it's weird that they're dressed that way. And, like, there's just certain scenarios, maybe they were doing something to their torso, and, now it's summertime and they're invited to a pool party. And they're like, Well, fuck, if I go to this pool party, you know, everybody's gonna notice something. Everybody's gonna notice, and there's no way they're not gonna know that I do this, right? And so the first thing I think we should think about is, even if it is for attention, there are a lot of things. So first of all, human beings naturally seek attention. So it's kind of weird if you think about it that we, like, as a society, shame people doing things for attention, right? Like, I'm live streaming right now. That is literally for attention. But like, if you're making videos or content and it's public, like, you're literally making it for attention, right? You hope people pay attention to it. You want them to. It's not There's nothing wrong with wanting attention, and it's literally a need that we all have, but then we shame people for wanting it. So that's weird. That's weird. Moving on from that, though, because I can't stop people from being judgmental. Like, there's no argument against that. Uh the thing is, where was I? Okay. I know where I was. I'm just looking for the right words for this. Even if somebody is doing it for attention, there are a lot of things that people could do for attention that go beyond, uh that don't involve hurting themselves. Somebody can act funny or goofy, or somebody can, I mean, there's just all kinds of things people can do for attention. So the fact that doing something harmful to themselves is what they're doing for attention, that is still cause for concern, even if they're doing it for attention. The fact that they're doing something that is destructive to themselves for attention, when there are non-self harmful alternatives to getting attention, it's still a cause for concern, and they still deserve, whatever, the same sympathy or empathy, right? And for me personally, um, I I relapsed about a week and a half ago. Because a lot of people don't understand what self harm is, and I'm going to get into how it works, because um, here's how it worked. And I can only speak from my own experience, and people are going to have differing experiences, but I really do think mine is going to capture, like, what a lot of people go through. So I never cut myself. That was never my thing. I get a lighter. I'm not about to harm myself right now. I get a lighter and I just, hold it till it's hot, burn myself. I get the metal hot and I burn myself with a lighter. And I was kind of in a dilemma about talking about this because I didn't want to give people the idea. But it's a thing that happens that people already do, and some people that are just unaware about. So, if you see somebody with a bunch of what look like burn marks from a lighter all over their arm, that's from self harm, but the method not being cutting, but rather burning. Um, and so I did it again about like again relapsed. You get addicted to it. So relapse is actually the right word. We're not just using that word metaphorically here. I did it a week ago, just once, and you know, the first time that I did it, it really had, and the first couple of times that I did it, I wasn't seeking any sort of pleasure. Like I didn't really know about it releasing endorphins. Like maybe I'd heard about that, but that wasn't really what I was thinking. The first time that I went to self harm, it came from self hate. It came from feeling like I deserve to suffer. Because if you hate yourself and you convince yourself that you're a bad person, then it's easy for you to convince yourself that you deserve to suffer. And obviously, like if you think you're a bad person, then by making a bad thing happen to yourself, i.e., suffering, um, that's justice, right? Bad thing happens to bad person. Double negative makes a positive. That's kind of the mentality, right? And you feel like you deserve it, and you feel, I guess, you kind of feel like you're bringing some justice to the world by doing something to cause harm to yourself. And after a couple of times that you do this, see, unbeknownst to you, maybe, and at least in my case, your body starts to release endorphins while you're self harming, and this causes you to get a sense of dopamine. You start feeling a little bit euphoric from it. You don't really notice it right away the first time you do it. But eventually you start to pick up on this sort of feeling that you get. And I don't know if people who cut go through the same type of, I guess, pleasure that's derived from this pain when they do it. But um, I know eventually you get to a point where now when you're feeling down, the same way, if somebody starts using drugs or they start drinking when they're down, then now whenever they're down, it's something that they're thinking to do. You start getting in that. You get a habit where even if maybe you're not hooked on it in such a way where you're doing it all the time, something bad will happen to you. You'll get in a certain emotional state, whether it's severe sadness or whether it's frustration or anger. Because it's not just one emotion, sadness, that can cause you to want to do it. And so you get to a point where now you're doing it every time you get that emotion, probably sadness, one of the other ones. And then what happens is you find yourself in a stage where now you're thinking to do it every time you're in that stage. Now you can't help but do it. Now you're addicted. Now, every time something bad happens and every time you start feeling down or you start feeling low, you have to do this to yourself again. And if you're able to go 2 good weeks without feeling like killing yourself and thinking all, negative about yourself as a person, then, cool. Maybe you'll go 2 weeks without self-harming and you'll feel like you're soaring, like you're flying, like you're doing healthy, like you're finally good and you're finally like done with this. And you could acknowledge it's bad and maybe even cringe at yourself and think it's stupid and just think I'm gonna stop doing that shit now, right? Like fuck it. I don't want to be doing this. But you're in a stage where you can't help yourself. And eventually you just have that problem. And if anyone wants to ask me, like, how did I stop? How did I get clean? There's really no answer that I could give. I just went a while without doing it. I just had just sheer willpower to not do it, and paired with, I don't know, I just managed to not do it for a long time. I can't really give you the psychology. I know that's not satisfactory, but I'm not going to sit here and lie about something being the case if it isn't, you know. And someone talked about, I don't want to highlight it just in case, but hitting themselves in the chat, and like, yeah, I never got addicted to that, but I've done that before. And for the same reason I started burning, the first time I started burning myself was because I felt like I deserved to go through it. So then where does that come from? Obviously, this brings us to the self-hate part. I basically just explained what self-harm is, why it happens, so cheers to being done, I guess. I don't know. with that. I didn't want to say cheers to self-harm, but fucking cheers to being done with that. I don't know. That part. Self-hate. Um this is something that I still struggle with, so I'm not here to act like I'm somebody uh who's here to teach you how to get over it. I mean, if anything, part of the reason I'm here is because I don't fucking have that many friends and I don't want to bother anybody about what the fuck I'm going through. You know what I mean? Like YouTube, it doesn't sound healthy on paper, and it probably in a lot of cases has unhealthy properties. But sometimes, like the thing about venting to a friend is this: even if you have somebody that you know is there for you, you don't want to burden them with putting your problems upon them, because it's like, well, they wouldn't be able to say no if I asked them, right? YouTube, though, there are four people here. I don't know who you are. If you tune out, I won't know about it. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know when you stop listening here. And so it's easier for me to just open up here. And that's, I'm not the only streamer that applies to. I don't, there are other people who I don't need them to tell me that that's what they're doing for me to know what they're doing. Like, you can tell. I'm just being open and being real about it. You know, you have your supporters. And maybe not every viewer is a supporter, but a lot of them are. I think a lot of them are. And then, people start sharing your shit. People start commenting about how it helped them out, and something like that. So anyway, the self-hate for me, I try to do what I can to let me start it off this way. All of us are going to have an impact in this world, and we're going to have a good impact and a negative impact. And it's just there's nothing we could do to change the fact that there is a negative impact that we have, but with the acknowledgement, we can try to work to change the balance of it as much as we can, right? And my kind of goal is to change that. So something that makes me feel better about myself, or at least I think is a weapon against my self-hate, is I try to go do good deeds. Just go do good deeds, do good deeds, do good deeds. Is that a person in a wheelchair? Hey, where do you need to go? You need somebody to push you? Hey, are you hungry? Let me get you some food. Could I do that? And I guess there is sort of an egoistic altruism here, if you will, because um, in a sense, I'm doing it to help myself deal with self-hate. And when I think about that, that makes me feel less good about myself for helping other people. Like, okay, cool. I just help somebody to make myself feel better about myself. Like, cool. I still feel selfish for for that. And yeah, and then here too, from what I've experienced, people really don't like being around individuals with negative thoughts and mood. And exactly. And I mean, even as a person, you're hearing me, I'm talking about depression and suicidal thoughts. We'll get into that part later, talk about a little bit about that. But I talked about self-harm, is what I meant to say. And even as somebody talking about all this, I acknowledge that, like, if you're in a big group of people, it does suck if somebody is down. Like, it does bring things down. I just, obviously I empathize and relate to them because I've been that person sometimes. And that actually kind of makes me hate myself more too sometimes, in a sense, because I'm like, well, fuck, I don't want to bother people. I don't want to be around people and be bringing everybody down and shit. Like, just, you know, don't want to do that. And yeah, so there's, like, I don't know, that's a tricky situation, you know. And we need to be open to talk to people and be heard, and we also don't want to drag people down. So, like, you got to find your balance in life. I mean, I think a lot of life is just about finding balance between, like, vices. There's a virtue that lies between the vices, as I learned from Aristotle. Smart fucking Smart fucking man, right? Yeah, the virtue lies between the vices. Now, some people are going to be immediately thinking middle ground fallacy. No, middle ground fallacy says that the perfect answer is directly smack dab in the middle between two extremes. That's not the case. But if we're saying there's a virtue between vices, the virtue could be closer to one vice in some cases than the other, right? So anyway, self hate. uh, Shit. What else to get into about self hate? I noticed that a lot of people, if you deal with self hate, think about this. I have the ability to recognize biases. I gave some examples of bias and how I could recognize bias yesterday, and I think one thing I could pride myself on or grant myself having the ability is the ability to recognize when I'm being biased. And sometimes I realize that like I will really go hard on myself or judge myself or think a negative thing about myself. And the reason will be something that I wouldn't really judge you if you did it. I would understand it if you did it. I wouldn't really think anything negative of you if you did it. I would understand where you were coming from if you did it. But if I did it, oh no, fuck me. I'm an asshole. I'm a piece of shit. God damn it. This is who I am. Fucking always I'm like this. Why do I always fucking do this? Then that thought right there, I have that a lot. Why do I always fucking do this? I always fuck everything up. Difficult to be around. But then that's difficult because people it's a difficult world, right? It's a difficult world. And so I don't know. Shit, I thought I would have a better idea of what to say about this part, but I don't fucking know, man. Because it's like, let me talk about a situation that I had yesterday that I fucking like. There are so many reasons this didn't have to happen, that this didn't have to go this way. That is just so I'm on my way to the charity event with Austin Atheists Helping Homeless because we do that the first Sunday of every month, right? That happened to fall on the first yesterday. So I normally take the bus, but this time I was taking um clothes. So I decided I was gonna Uber this time. Fuck it, I had extra money laying around anyway. And I get in the Uber and the guy is playing gospel music, right? And obviously, it's not my kind of music. I don't jive with it. I don't fuck with it, right? It's not my thing. So I politely ask him, hey, excuse me, can you change the music? That's all I asked. Just could you change the music? Because again, I don't want to listen to your religious. I think that's a very reasonable request. He goes, oh no, I'm most spiritual today. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I go, so was Jesus a disrespectful person? He's like, I'm sorry. And then I gave him, what I normally do with the Christians. I was just like, I know that as a Christian, you see, you strive to live as much of a Christ-like life as possible. And so, you know, by you disrespecting me and being disrespectful to me and not caring about how I feel, I could infer that that's the kind of person that Jesus was, right? Because you honor him through your actions. And then he just started talking about sin and just a bunch of shit that wasn't answering my fucking question at all. And I'm sitting, and then he tries to convert me to Christianity. Literally. And I'm like, and I just I just said, stop trying to convert me to your religion. Shut up. Stop talking. Just take me to where I need to go. And he was like, okay. And here, like, I don't want to have to get that way with somebody and get hostile and loud with them. Like, I don't want to have to do that with somebody. And I really wish there's a big part of me that really wishes I could have just been patient and dealt with it. And a lot of people would have been like, this isn't necessary. I'm just going to be chill about it. Right. And like I guess I just envy that. But then there's this like on the other hand, right? What's also the case, this man couldn't be asked to do so little as change the fucking music for the ride that I'm paying for, and then you're going to go a step further and try to convert me to Christianity while I've already expressed to you that I'm not comfortable with like your religious music while I'm in the car. I don't want to hear it. Like I've already expressed that, and you're gonna do this shit, right? So like, it's not like I'm not coming from anywhere. Like that, I don't know. That's some valid reason for me to be upset, right? But then, like, because of the fact that I know and live around so many people who take this situation where I had a like, and if you disagree, I can't change that. But let's just say you can understand that that's maybe a pretty valid reason for me to get that upset, right? If that happens all of the time, then you're regularly having interactions where you're kind of being hostile toward people, and then I became an asshole with this guy. One right before I got out of the car, I said, "Oh, um, by the way, Mary was a whore, and the only reason everyone thinks she was a virgin is because nobody knows who Jesus' daddy was. I just hope you know you're." I was like, by the way, your God's fake, and I just hope you grow the fuck up one day and accept that. And then I got out and I fucking kind of half slammed the door and I left. And then I went, and here's the irony. Here I, the atheist, was on my way to go feed and clothe the poor, literally. And here this guy was who couldn't be bothered to do so much as treat others the way he wanted to be treated. Bravo. Fucking bravo. Oh, fuck me. That was frustrating. And so I just hate how often I get that frustrated and upset and like kind of hostile toward people. And I really want to, especially on my channel, like advocate for being peaceful toward people and being respectful and polite. Like that's the way to be. But fuck me, man, it's really difficult not to get that way with people. But then because of the fact that I get that way with people, that gets me to a point where I just feel like I'm an asshole. And what does that make me feel? Self-hate. Fuck. So, hey, shout outs to you, John. Good morning. I don't know. And I don't know. Maybe that guy needed to hear that as well. I guess so. It's just I really don't want to get like that with people. And I really hate that I do. And it's hard to not feel bad about yourself when you get that way with people. You know, like I really wish we could have just got along. Like, really, I just wish everybody could get along. But then there's something that it's like, it's so easy. Just respect that I don't want to hear this. I'm paying for this ride. What the fuck, man? Fortunately, though, as I try to be optimistic, I don't care if it's a dark stream, I try to be optimistic. At least in this situation, which is relevant because of the fact that I was talking about self-hate, and this is a pretty good example of like one place that it comes from is situations like this happen where I end up getting like this, and then it's hard for me to not hate myself for getting like that. Fortunately, though, I will say for this situation, Uber support, I contacted them about it and gave a message about what happened, and yeah, they gave me $20 in Uber cash and we're like, yeah, we're sorry. Like basically this should not have happened. And here's $20 in Uber cash, right? Which I could use for either Uber or Uber Eats. So I'm probably gonna get some good munchies today. So like be positive. So and you know what? The ride was only $18. So really I made $2. I got paid $2 to sit through a rude ass proselytizing Christian and gospel music for something like 25 minutes. So like, okay, I like just it's try to calm down. but anyway, I'm opening up about this in hopes that other people who relate to it could hear it, or even who don't relate to it could hear it, who could understand. Because um, I don't know how many other people out there, if you go through self hate, if part of the reason is you don't like the way that you treat others. Because I want to treat others well. Like I want to treat people good. So I don't like when I treat people anything other than that. Um, let's see. Having personal standards you strive to adhere to. Sometimes you aren't perfect, and your anger gets the best of you. Let it not be black or white, bad or good. It's just a thing that happens. I don't know. It depends on what the thing is, but yeah, I don't know. That's at least where that comes from. And then suicide. Yeah, that's obviously relevant to this. I'm not like going through, so I'm not like in a stage where I'm like potentially gonna do anything to myself in like the anywhere near like future or anything like that. Because I've been in a stage where I've been like pretty like dangerous, and I didn't know if I was gonna be and like every day I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it another day. Basically, is how I felt before. I'm not in that stage right now, but with suicide, it could be. There are a lot of things that could. I don't think anybody who wants to kill themselves wants to kill themselves for one reason alone, and I could be wrong about that. But I think a few things make you want to give up, and then something just pushes you over the edge. Um, and so I was gonna say about fuck, I don't know, man. There are a lot of things that tie into it, and it's kind of like this. You're just seeing somebody stoned forget what they're talking about in real time. Does that make you feel like you're with me in the moment? Um, when you want to kill yourself, there's multiple stages, I think, because when you're in this sort of stage where like you you feel like giving up a little bit, or you feel like sometimes you don't want to be here anymore, like either because of loneliness or because of like yeah loneliness. I'm like, why doesn't anyone really like me, on the assumption that no one really likes you, obviously, right? And maybe a lot of people could like you and you just can't accept that anybody likes you, and you're telling yourself that why doesn't anybody like me? uh yeah, but what I think is like a really bad, there's a step in suicidal thinking that I think is like a really dangerous step. um And that is when you start to think that the world would be a better place without you. You start to think the world would be better off without you. When you think that the world would be better off without you, um, I mean, it's hard not to just repeat myself, but you're just, if you were going like this, like you just started going like this, I don't know. I don't have the words for it. No tengo las palabras para eso. Um, yeah, it goes down and you think about it, and then you're thinking about ways to do it. That's the stage after, right? Now you're thinking about, okay, here are the risks associated with this method, because a lot of methods of suicide, the reality, like if you fail, that's the thing. Like that's the scary thing, is what if you fuck it up and you don't, like what if you shoot yourself in the brain and you just get a part of your brain that you're able to survive without, and you just fuck some part of yourself up, and now you're handicapped and you have lost a significant amount of your memories, or like that kind of thing can happen to you. um and I'm somebody who's survived a suicide attempt. When I was 19, I drank, it was 16 ounces of codeine. I drank 16 ounces of codeine, and I remember I woke up after it. I probably slept a good 10 hours, but I woke up after it. I probably slept 12 hours or something. I don't know. I slept a long time though. But I woke up, and you got to think, like, I literally, so there's this moment. So they call codeine, they call it lean for a reason. You'll be drinking it, and like eventually at some point, you just start to lean. You just lean over. And I remember once that finally happened, right? And I started leaning, I remember thinking, because I drank 16 lines, and I've heard a line is an ounce. A line is slang for an ounce. You, um, yeah, when you fall over, um, yeah, I was thinking this is the last time I'm ever gonna fall over. So these are like I'm within the last minute or two of my consciousness, like I experienced thinking that, and I just like fuck, I'm just gonna be found dead. My dog's gonna die, and like I feel bad that I didn't at least just do something about him. Like, I don't know, like here I was, um, and then another time I gave my dog to my mom, and she had no idea why I was giving my dog to her, and it was because I was gonna kill myself, and I didn't want my dog to die being left alone. So I literally that I've gotten that close before, where I literally had given my dog to my mom so that I wouldn't, yeah, so that I wouldn't kill him by killing myself. Because the time that I attempted suicide, he was in the house, and had I succeeded, he probably would have just died. Um, I had roommates at the time, but they were gone on vacation. I don't know, they were gone for a while, so um, like 2 months or something. So yeah, yeah, man, indeed. So I don't know where to go. Where to go from here? Really, like I'm fucking kind of. Somebody said I don't want to highlight it just in case. I just got out of the loony bin on December 21st. Well, I'm happy that you're out and you're yeah. I hope you're living as healthy as you can, and you're making good habits. And I know it sounds mundane, but eating right and exercising, like it sounds mundane because everyone says it, but everyone says it because it's true. It helps. It doesn't cure anything, but it fucking helps a lot. So, um, and so yeah, somebody mentioned Discord. I'll post the link to the Discord to my Discord server here. Um, but I'm here to say that like when you are suicidal, think about um for me, giving myself purpose helps me fight it. And I've talked about giving myself purpose a lot lately. Um, and the reality is you you have to I like and this is gonna fucking suck for some people to hear. This is how I feel. Like you would kind of have to earn, or at least I feel this way, at least about myself. I have to earn value. You have to earn meaning. And then, if you're making yourself meaningful, you can actually say when you're suicidal and you're kind of like debating in your head whether to do it or not. You could say, okay, well, here's something to add to the list of the reasons to not do it, like, if you're somebody like me who does a lot of shit for the homeless people, you could say, well, like that's a lot less homeless people getting fed without you. Now you have that argument against yourself, you know. Um but yeah, no, I'm gonna get to the Discord right now. Give people the link, because you have to get a fucking specific the invite link. I've made the mistake of posting the channel link in there. This is where I'm at. I'm doing all right, I guess, though. Like I've got some good things going for me, I like things aren't all bad for me. Um and that's why I mentioned that where there are various different, like, I guess, stages of suicidal thinking, and I just kind of wanted to clarify. I'm not in that very dangerous stage where I'm planning on, all right, what am I going to do with my dog? Or, I'm not thinking like, okay, can I make it another month? Like it's not like that for me right now. So I'm not in any like immediate danger. So I just want to say that nobody's like concerned. I don't want people to think that I might end this and kill myself because I'm not going to. Um, but uh Yeah, and this might sound sarcastic to some people. Macaroni and cheese is frequently one of the reasons I stay here. But actually, food is a great source of pleasure, and pleasure is something that does give fucking meaning to life. It does. Like this one source, not in itself, obviously, but it's one of them. And yeah, that's like sometimes just spend extra on food. Like get yourself a good meal. Get yourself something you really like. There's this place that I really like here in Austin called Eureka Burger. Eureka Burger is a bit pricey compared to other burgers, especially the burgers I like, because the burgers I like are like the most expensive ones on the menu. The bison burger and the bone marrow burger. They're crazy. But, I'm not saying that I'm living for I'm not saying I'm living for cheeseburgers. I'm just saying there's certain food. When I travel, I get to have food. I'm gonna go to Colombia and I've been to Guatemala, and there's just a lot of different foods out there. Um, so anyway, that's just I guess food is a reason to live. Chuck that in the list of reasons to live bucket. Um Sorry. Eureka? Yeah. Yeah. It's on 6th Street. I think near Netches. But not on that corner, I don't think. I don't know. But yeah, on 6. Okay, let me go to that. Hold on one more time to that. I'm on my Discord. I need to get the invite. I always have a trouble finding that fucking link. Okay. Okay. But anyway, talking about suicide, a little bit more. I am I'm gonna say this. If you're feeling suicidal, remember that you're gonna die anyway. I know that that's not like a curing quote, right? And it's also not the most, I don't know, positive sounding, but like what you got to think about. I mean, if you're somebody like myself who doesn't think at all that there's an afterlife, right? And I don't know afterlife. Come on, bro. Um, then you have to think about it. You're going to die anyway. So what's the fucking hurry? And it's not like we don't, us depressed people don't have answers to that. We can go, okay, well, I don't want to keep going. I don't want to experience this for longer. And, obviously there are different reasons to stay. Some better than others. And, some not good at all. But I posted the link to the Discord in the chat. I do thank everybody for tuning in. As always, I wish nothing but health and happiness to you and everyone that you love. But yeah, stay safe out there, everybody. This has been today's Darkstream. And, talking about the thing about the self-harm at the beginning, where I talked about a method of self-harm that's not that common. That was a dilemma for me because I don't want to popularize that. I really hope nobody does that as a result of like hearing the idea from me. Because one time a friend of mine who was depressed did it and like got the idea from me. And I was like, fuck, like I really didn't like that. So yeah, I bounced around with that dilemma, but I thought about it. It's a thing that a lot of people are doing. That light should be shut on. So I mentioned it. So again, wishing nothing but health and happiness to you and everyone that you love. Stay safe.